Scipio Africanus was the first African, because before uh, he was given the name, or they start calling him the name, or he adopted the name, you cannot find Africa nowhere. See, that's why they keep debating on it, because they want to, you keep using this term, but they don't want to credit it to Scipio Africanus. And they want to push it off on the people so they can hide other identities. Because when you look at the word Africa, it is derived from a Greek word and a Latin word. The Greek word is aprike, Aphrike. Then you have the Latin word Africa. Now the Latin word Africa means sunny, because when you're looking at so-called Africa, it's hot. They got deserts there. You see? And so they was pretty much saying that it was hot in Africa. He conquered the land of the hot. That's why they call Kemet. Kemet means hot. You see? So they would that it was a land that was known to be hot. Then when you look at the Greek word, it means without cold. So it's not cold in this area, because they was from Europe, Germany, Russia. See, they from the Caucasus Mountain where it's cold at, and they was migrating down to Italy and all of those lands, Spain and France, Poland, Portugal. They was migrating to all these places that was around that area. So anyhow, Leo, this historian Leo Africanus, he adopted the name, or was kin or related to the Roman general and statesman Scipio Africanus, and he started searching for this name and what this name meant. Now it was also a goddess. The goddess name was Phrike, and she was this goddess that meant horror, and she was pretty much meaning that she was bringing fear to whatever. But she was a Greek goddess, and so that is close to what's going on. You got Greek mythology with these goddesses and gods. The so-called Romans love to call themselves after Greek gods and stuff like that. And then you had just the language in itself, meaning hot, sunny, without the cold, matching this word Africa. And they was naming him because he went and conquered that land. And so this was not, it was not a people called Africa. That's a lie. It was never a people. He went and conquered a people. No, he did not. He didn't conquer anything. When he went down there, and the Romans was already ruling, the Greeks had already ruled all of that land, and he was just fighting over what they had already owned. They had already took over that land. It's just that they was during the Punic Wars, they was fighting over these lands and who was going to have power over these lands. And these people had an origin. They wasn't Romans. They wasn't Greeks. See, these names derived from other places. They wasn't the forefather of the so-called white man. The name Europe came from a lady that was doing a Byzantine Empire during the so-called Dark Ages. Her name was Europa. She was a nobility, and she was a so-called black woman, and her name was Europa. That's what they derived the Europe and European. That's where they get that name from. So these individuals is hiding their identity, and they trying to push off this Africa thing. Now, when you look at uh, let me get this other name. This man named Francesco. Let's see. Um, the guy, he became famous in Europe for writing poems, and they made him a pretty much a government poet, where he was writing for the whole government, and they would use him to write poems. And so he wrote a poem about Scipio Africanus, and the poem that he wrote was called Africa. That was the first time that you saw the word Africa. Now, the first African was Scipio Africanus, because he was the man that inspired the formation of the name Africa. See, in the exact spelling, how it's spelled. And so these individuals want to go by that name and stop at their history. Is ridiculous. But let's get this other guy's name. Okay, poem. And then not only did he write the poem called Africa, he made the name Dark Ages. And the Dark Ages was pretty much saying that these individuals that was ruling these lands had dark skin. And so this is the situation. And this individual, his name was Francesco Petri Arca. Petrarca. And he was a scholar, poet in early the Renaissance of Italy. And he wrote the poem Africa, and he became a celebrity. This was not just any old poem that he wrote. He became a major celebrity.
In France, he continued writing and finished his first epic poem, Africa, about the legendary Roman general Scipio Africanus. This poem and his other writings about Roman history became popular, and Francesco Petrarca became a celebrity throughout Europe. On April 8, 1341, he became Rome's poet laureate and was crowned on Capitoline Hill. A poet laureate is someone appointed by the government to compose poems for special events and occasions. Even into modern days, to become a poet laureate is one of a poet's highest honors. After this, Francesco traveled across Europe, where he searched out lost manuscripts from ancient Greece and Rome. He took these manuscripts, fixed them up, and with the help of others translated them for other Italians to read.
Now, when you look at the history of this situation with Scipio Africanus, you can clearly see that this priest or this church so-called white man was pushing Africa, and he pushing the Dark Ages, and it wound up becoming that this land that most of the so-called dark nation uh, was living, or the dark nations was living, the dark families, because nation is a tricky word. The dark families was living down in this land, on this landmass. And so he was pushing the name Africa and the Dark Ages, meaning the dark people, dark skinned people was so called Africans. And see, they just want to throw this blanket name on people, because not only that, you had at this time in the 1300s, you had the so-called Jews being expelled out of Europe. See, it was an expulsion happening in the 13th century. They started expelling Jews around about the 11th, 12th, and 13th century. In 14th century, it finally came to a head where they was clearing the whole place out and getting prepped up for a mass slavery situation. And so these individuals pretty much trying to hide people's identities, and this was another strategy to hide the Israelites. See, they want to go with this dark ages and this Africa on that landmass, because this was where the majority of the Israelites was living. And so now everybody's just dark Africans. Israelites is you won't be able to distinguish what's an Israelite and who is an Israelite. That is a way you can get rid of their identity. And he had the manuscripts that was in Rome. He had the Greek manuscripts that was written by the Israelites. He was going and searching for these things, trying to find all of them and collect them. He probably was trying to collect all of them so he can destroy them, destroy the history, because he was a priest and he understood that these individuals had the blessings, and his people was the Edomites. They didn't have the blessing. They had the curse. His people was cursed. That's why they roaming around killing each other and lying and doing all kind of sneaky situation and killing each other. During the Punic War, they were just killing each other back and forth, fighting for power. And so these two individuals expose the lies that these people want to push, and they got these Masons and these people in these fraternities, these black boule people, who they push out there and try to push this same narrative of Africa, 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 when that came from a so-called white man. It's not a people that's called Africa, and you don't name your people after some landmass, and the landmass was not named after a people. See, but if they can convince people of that, then they can go keep calling folks Africa Africans and all this mess. When that was not a name and no kind of history, you go into if the prophets was writing and Yahweh came, who they ignorantly called Jesus Christ, he came 200 years after Scipio Africanus. Why wasn't they talking about some Africans? See, why they didn't say, oh, this African came? They said he was from Ethiopia. They didn't say he was from Africa. See, because Ethiopia was a son of Ham, and that was the land of Ham. Ham's sons went into that land and dwelt in that land. It was called the land of Ham, not Africa. And the first African was Scipio Africanus, the so-called white man, who go back to the nation of Edom and the Edomites. When you go into let's go into that verse, because I don't want to get too much with this, the Edomites, but they, Jeremiah 49 and 10, it said it all. It said, but I have made Esau bare. I have uncovered his secret places, calling themselves white people, Europeans, calling themselves Germans, Greeks, whatever kind of name you want to put on it, Caucasian. It says, he shall not be able to hide himself. See, he trying to hide because he's been prophesied in Numbers. Let's get Numbers real quick. Let's see, is it 20 and 24 or 24 and 20? Okay, 24 and 20. In Numbers, it's been prophesied. 8 verse 18 is saying, Edom shall be a possession, meaning they going into slavery. Seir also shall be a possession, meaning they going into slavery. Israelites is going to be the slave master. Verse 20, and when he looked on Amalek, he took up a parable and said, Amalek was the first of the nations, but his latter end shall be that he perish forever. See, this is the prophecy that these priests who was making up, writing poems about Africa, making this word Africa famous, and this Dark Ages concept famous. See, focusing on the rule, the 1,000-year rule of the Israelites when they ruled Europe. They was promoting this because he knew the history of his peoples and the punishment that was coming to his people, and he was trying to cloud the situation and hide his peoples, hide the identity of his people. And he was the statesman. He was the one that the government and all of the people was pushing him to do so. But I'm going to leave it there. All praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shah, Ba'ashem Kakadash. Double honor to the elders pushing the truth. Peace to the elect worldwide. Our kingdom is at hand. Shalom.